PS5 price, unexpectedly large barrier for Monster Hunter Wilds sales, says Capcom president. I find
I was gonna
this.
say, speaking of PS5.
Yeah, I find this interesting.
So, Monster Hunter Wilds has been a massive success. It is the best-selling game of the year still.
Wow.
Yep, huge success. Biggest game of the year still. And yeah, we got 3 months to go, but it might not be topped. Call of Duty, of course, does come in. They did 10 million units in the first month, and they're saying, how are they building on? They were asked, how are you going to build on that initial 10? And they're like, we found that it has been tricky because there are barriers to the PS5 when it comes to price that are unexpectedly large. The console costs around 80,000 yen, and then factoring in the monthly subscription and the software, the game itself comes down to 675 at the time of purchase. This is not easily affordable, especially for younger generations. The situation is not limited to Japan. It is similar overseas. Our challenge is to overcome these barriers and get Monster Hunter Wilds to more people. Sales and other events will be in the future, so we are currently developing strategy to take advantage of these opportunities to boost sales throughout the year. And he also acknowledged the Switch 2, saying its success at a relatively lower price point shows that affordability is crucial for customers, and he did hint at a possible Monster Hunter Wilds port for Switch 2. Please don't do that.
If they can make it work, they're having trouble making it work, elsewhere, but sure.
No, that thing barely works on a PS5, but okay, sure.
I know. If they want to try.
Switch 2,
at least give them that opportunity.
At least try, guys.
Yeah, you're down to try, but if it doesn't work, don't release it.
Yeah. Switch 2 was released in June at a price point of 49,980 yen, and the response was a lot better than they expected. I imagine what that translates to is, holy crap, Street Fighter sold a lot on Switch 2.
Right.
While prices vary by country, this reaffirms the high level of cost consciousness among ordinary consumers. In the months post-launch, they have struggled to get momentum for the game, selling only 477,000 copies between April and June. And it's been soft for, and then, I think that, like $675, as he said, or 100,000 yen, that's a lot of money if you're not like well into your career life.
Right.
Like if you, because like, okay, I'm at the point in my life where I can land a decent job that pays somewhat well pretty easily. Like not a ton of effort. Like, yeah, it's hard for sure, but not, I have a resume that says, yeah, dog, hire me. So versus like if you're young, you're working at like what Aaron, what was like one of your first jobs and what was the salary? And we'll try to adjust that for inflation.
That was probably sandwich artiste at Subway, the acclaimed, the 5-star restaurant. It was minimum wage, I believe, so it was like $7.25 an hour.
So that is $11 to $13 an hour now. If you're making I made $11 an hour. I did it at AT&T, so 40 hours was like $600 take home for a 2-week period, so like $300 a week take home. Dude, you are the last thing on your mind if you're making $1,200 a month in the current price climate is buying a PS5.
Not even a prayer.
Not like maybe if you got some friends or some family who gives you some Christmas money and you're putting like $20 a week away and canceling a bunch of stuff, you might be able to make it happen. But that's like the people who are like really like video games.
Really like video games and really like Monster Hunter, because I could totally see if I'm cash conscious, like saving up, getting the PS5, and then playing Marvel Rivals, or like making the most out of my buck.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like you're competing with free entry points. Because I remember when I was really broke, like this is not a free game, but I would just play only World of Warcraft sometimes when I was in college because it was $15 a month for tons and tons and tons of gameplay.
Right.
Literally endless gameplay. Or you would so it's one of those things instead of paying $60 for a brand new video game.
And it doesn't help that Monster Hunter, while its sales are high, the conversation around the games, post end game stuff is just not. The conversation's not good. So imagine like you're trying to figure out how to spend your money best, and Monster Hunter is your favorite franchise, but it's in a weird place right now.
Yeah, like that's another thing, and then I think that a lot of people are, when Monster Hunter World came out, the PS4 was like well on its way to being, the big like console of the generation. It had a ton of units out in the wild, and it was only $300, and your dollar stretched a lot further back then. Right. Versus now, your dollar doesn't stretch nearly as far. The console is gone up in price. It's just, it's not
great.
Not good.
But I don't know how you're gonna swing affordability. Like Monster Hunter Wilds was, you're pushing the technology, you're making something big and huge. I don't know. You may make a smaller Monster Hunter next time.
I was just about to say, do you think for the next Monster Hunter they do what they did for Rise, where they do like an amazing Switch version, or in this case Switch 2, and then just port that up to PC and everything else?
That's been what they've been doing, and I don't see a reason to change that. I think it totally works.
I think if your goal, in the case of Monster Hunter, this is definitely your goal, is to sell as many units as humanly possible.
Yeah.
Then I think what you need to do is you need to make the lowest common denominator version first. So that's going to be PC handhelds and Switch 2. And in all honesty, maybe Switch 1 and PS4, because those systems like are getting a Marvel Rivals port soon.
Right.
Which is weird to say, but
it's weird, but it's smart.
Yeah. But if you're looking to sell as many units as humanly possible, then you want to be as many platforms possible. The answer is okay. Let's
work up.
Yeah, start on Switch 2, and then go up from there.
Right.
Which I think that they should absolutely do for the next Monster, because that worked out great for Rise.
Yeah,
that worked out real good for Rise, and I think that you can do a game the size of Monster Hunter World and just have it look like Rise running on a Switch 2 just perfectly fine.
100%. Yep.
So yeah.
They also they've been kind of doing this multi-prong approach that we've been talking about for PlayStation earlier. It's just that they're staggered. And so we got some years before we get the expansion to Wilds, and then their smaller Nintendo focused version.
Yeah, and I think that Nintendo's going to be a real outlier here soon, because you're looking at they're the only ones who's only going to have one hardware SKU. Yeah, Xbox is pretty committed to making anything in Xbox, and even if they weren't, they have 2 regular Xbox SKUs. Actually, they have more than that because they have higher storage options. And then, you look at PlayStation, they have 3 SKUs, and they're looking to do 3 again in a hybrid. So Nintendo's kind of weird one there with just, we have a hybrid.
Right. Yeah.
So, I think that,
yeah.
selling at parents now is hard as well. Like if you're a teenager or even a kid, and you're just like, "Hey, I want a PlayStation for Christmas," and it's like $550.
A lot.
A lot of money.
And a game to come with it.
Yeah, and a game. But we're obviously, if we were parents, we'd be educated parents. Be like, you can play free games to start. Go enjoy Marvel Rivals or Fortnite.
It's yeah, it's tough. I don't know. There's something to be said for getting one good live service $70 game, and that's where your friends are, and you ride that into the fucking ground.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we bought a lot more games when we were young, but like even when we were young, how much Halo 3 and Modern Warfare 2 did we play, right?
Right. Yep.
Like it was we'd buy other games on occasion, but just Halo 3, Modern Warfare 2, Gears 2, like we're gonna run this into the ground until we buy our 2 to 3 games next year.
Yep.
So and then GameFly in their interim or rent
Right.
in their interim.
Yeah, GameFly could use more love in that regard. But yeah, I think affordability. If you can figure out a way to deal with that, that'd be a good way to go. But have your $70, $80 big Monster Hunter, and then let's start looking at affordability in other areas. There's a number of ways they could go about it. That's up to them. Decide what they want to do.
Yeah, I think the port up method is the obvious one, or the just spend significantly less money making the game option.
Right.
I think that is also an option here of like, you didn't need to make the biggest game in the world, everybody. So
Monster Hunter has the kind of command where I think they could do both, and just you just need to. They've been doing what they've been doing, and I don't blame them for doing that. But we are all of a sudden in a different world.
It's a different world. If this was like during the PS4 era when that stuff came out, like that'd be a very different thing.
Yeah.
It'd be a very different thing. Like if we're in a world where the console was $300 and high-end graphics cards were $600, and your salary was a lot less of a portion of that, then yeah, sure, like the different world, bro. But that's not the case.
Okay. Free to play big Monster Hunter. All characters sexy as hell. And then you got your mainline Monster Hunter stuff that you unlock, and that's free. But then there are a bunch of paid outfits that are Capcom and collab. So dressing up your character as Dante, you got to pay some money.
I don't think that's the worst idea.
It's an idea.
I hate. Look, I really dislike the free-to-play market. I realize it's very advantageous, but I think it's bad for the long-term health of video games.
It is.
I think because like all of these eventually turn into predatory nightmares, or you log into them and their UI makes me feel like I'm having a panic attack.
They're trained. It's bad, but fortunately, if you can deal with it, if you can navigate around it, it is by far the cheapest and easiest way to play the newest, the latest and greatest.
Yeah, yes, it is. It's just that it's gross, it's predatory, it's bad for the health of the game industry. But number must go up, and if number must go up, that means people are a lot more likely to buy a $5 to $25 costume than they are to buy a $70 video game.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Just is what it is.
Is what it is. All right. Go to the next news story here.